Here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Here for the Horses. We are here for the horses. We're going to get started today. We got a couple things to go over. I just finished a 2-day clinic in Issaquah, Washington. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm going to talk about our homework for this week based off of what we have. We're working on the hind end. So I'm excited about that. And then we have what else was I said I was going to work on? We'll open up for questions. Okay. So welcome everyone. Glad you're here. 2-day clinic in Issaquah was amazing. It was so fun. I had very cool things happen. One was, I had a 1-year-old horse there, which is really fun. I love setting horses up for success and making it so they can, you can set them up for success. You want to get a nice baseline on setting their body up for body work. This was a horse off of the Oregon range, so came to the person as wild, young, they're smaller off when they're off the range like that. And we had some great things happen with that little horse. She, generally the babies don't last that long. She did fantastic the whole weekend. So she lasted a whole weekend clinic as a little 1-year-old baby. So I love that. The owner also said, I can't touch her legs. And I said, okay, no problem. Let's not push it. But I picked up both of her front legs and she was like, sure, go for it. I don't care. She just had the best attitude. And that was because we kind of set her up for that. We set her up to be nice and relaxed and to trust us and, have a good time. And she was like looking around at all the other horses. So that was super fun to have her there. We also had a horse that was very footsore. He gets kind of sore on his feet. So he gets special shoes and all this stuff. And so he came in very sore and it looks like he's been sore for a while. So what happens when they get sore is just their whole body tenses up, right? That's why I say I don't want to see muscles. I don't want to see outlines of muscles. I do not want to see their ribs. Okay. So horses at weight, if they're not skinny, sometimes you can still see their ribs. I don't want to see them sucked up. Okay. When they get sucked up in that flank area, I don't want to see their, their little hip bones sticking out or kind of their glutes or anything like that. So we had a weekend and that horse, oh my God, like he was walking real stiff when he came in. He had the best weekend ever. He had the best weekend ever. The second day he came in and he was walking way better. He was really happy. She was able to do the leg range of motion with him that she's never able to do. He gets kind of upset about picking up some of his feet, obviously, because he's sore, right? So when you got to take one of the feet away, then the rest have to take the pressure. He was quite happy to do all the leg range of motion. So that was fantastic. I had a person come in to this weekend clinic, and the first thing that she says to me is, my horse doesn't like to be touched anywhere, ever. I said, okay, all right. He doesn't want to be touched, huh? We're going to fix that. So that horse, he was getting relaxed. He was releasing tension. He had a lot of tension that was held up in his legs. So he would bite at her when she would go to do it. And I say, yeah, that's tension. We have to help him get that tension out of his legs. Okay. So as we did that, he just started releasing and relaxing. And by the end of that clinic, he was being touched everywhere. So I go, your horse don't like to be touched, huh? And I actually know her from a ways back. We're friends from a ways back. And she goes, well, I guess he didn't like the way I was touching him. And I said, yeah, we'll make sure we do it right and get some relief for him. So that was extra special. I had an old client show up that it's bad of me, but I recognize horses before I recognize people. So when they came in, I was like, oh, I feel like I know that horse. And yeah, she had taken my clinic back in 2000 and 2002, I think, or 2001, 2002, and had great results. And so she brought that same horse back, and I got to see him, and I got to release some tension out of him. So that was really fun. But yeah, we had a good time. I will be posting the pictures very soon, so check those out. And then I'm also having a ugly yawn contest, and there are some doozies, so feel free to vote on those when you have a chance. And there were some doozies, so I have some awesome photos from this weekend, so we will do that. Okay, let me share my screen here, and I'm going to share my screen, and what I want to show you, oh yeah, we're going to go a little bit over the we're going to go over a little bit of this last week's homework, and I want you guys to keep doing that if you haven't done it yet. Okay, so this week's homework, so feel free to write this down. This week's homework is under the hind legs. Okay, hind legs. We're going to do the inside hind legs, which is going to be your gaskin, and inside of the hind leg. Why don't you point to that for us, Wanda? Inside hind leg. Yeah. She back there doing it. She back there doing it. Okay, good job. Yeah, right there. That horse is relaxed, man. Ranger, feel good. All right, and then the front of the hock. We're going to scratch the front of the hocks. Okay, so front of the hocks, inside hind leg. These are going to be our two for this week. But I also want you to finish up last week's stuff also. Okay, so if you still need to do some stuff from last week, I want you to do that also. Okay, so we are starting on the hind legs. We're going to work our way down the hind legs, and then we're going to do hind leg range of motion after we get through that. And then that's going to be the end of that. Okay, and then we're going to start over again. So these were some cool pictures from Carol of Lila before and after that work she had done. So that's pretty awesome. There's still some work to be done. My eye gets pulled to the spine. Like I want the spine straight, and you can tell that it kind of veers off, right? The stance is much better. So we're improving there. And then that hip gets dropped down because the stance is off. So we're seeing a big improvement there. So that's kind of exciting. That's kind of exciting. Okay, I did want to go over Sue's real quick, and then I want to go over, this was cool because, so Sue, you're gonna want I gotta mute myself, hold on. You're gonna want it as too much of me talking at once, it's not good. Okay, so Sue, this is on Boone here. Can everyone see this? Okay, so you can tell that this isn't moving his spine, or it might have been that I can't see it, but it seems like when she flipped to the other side, she really got it. So her hand, what I'm saying there with that circle is that to do the spine wiggle, your hand needs to be up really close to the dock of the tail. So it needs to be up here, and you need to try to use it as like a lever to move their spine. Okay. So use it as a lever. This is more of a tail wiggle. So this is going to work the dock of the tail, but it's not going to do much for the spine because you can see that his body's not really moving. And then what I wanted to show is when she flipped to the other side, watch how much better, and you can see that his body's moving. Look at his face, and then look at his belly. So it's like a snake. It goes, uh-oh, Wanda's horses are loose. Wanda's horses all got loose. Oh, that's funny, man. Sorry. So you can see that his little face is moving, right? So his little nose is going back and forth, and then that belly is going also. So he's going like a little snake, and I want that spine to just be loose like this, back and forth. And for some reason, Sue, I don't know if you're left-handed, Sue, but you're much better on your left side.
I am left-handed, but
Oh,
the surprise, surprise. But I
there you
actually do
go. So
I
yeah,
do
that
more
showed
with
up
my
there, didn't it?
um.
Yeah.
But
So on the
it took
right,
me a
you
long
were,
time. It
what's
took
that?
me a while to get into the motion of getting it to work, to find
Yes.
the right rhythm, the right speed. And so it wasn't until the end that, like you say, I changed sides and it started working and he released.
Yes, that's true. So it does take a while to get into the rhythm of it. Okay. So what you want, and sometimes you have to move them faster like this,
Hmm.
and sometimes you got to slow it way down. So you just got to find that rhythm, and then when you figure it out, you can do it. But you can see his little nose started going in that circle that I'm talking about, and that's when you're going to get that relax. So that was cool. That was a cool video to watch. So if you guys haven't watched that yet, go ahead and watch that, because it was funny to see. It didn't really work on the one side, and then she flipped to her dominant side, which, and with the spine wiggle, you can just use whatever side you're good at. You don't have to do both sides. I'm glad you did, so that we could see how drastic the difference was. But for spine stuff, you can generally just do it on one side, but maybe do it on both and see what's going on. Okay. The next thing I wanted to look at real quick before I open it up to questions is Melinda's video here was really cool. Hold on. All right. So Melinda's doing the spine wiggle. Okay.
I'm gonna do the tail dog shake thing. I'll do it from the other side.
The spine wiggle. So check this out. Okay. That looks pretty stiff, doesn't it? Okay, and she's right up high on the tail dock, which is where I want your hand. Okay, and you can see it's like, that's not super relaxed. There, it loosened up a little bit. And then she's kind of trying to figure it out. Started moving a little bit there. There. But then she was like, man, this tail is stiff. And she started doing the tail articulation instead of doing the spine wiggle. And I love that. That's exactly what she should have done, because the tail was too stiff. So she went into it, and then he started licking and chewing. Okay. Then she's going into the tail articulation and loosening that. That tail looks stiff, doesn't it, you guys? So then she's doing it, you know, forward and back, side to side. So she's going to loosen that tail up. And then she'll come back and do the spine wiggle later. So just watch the tail. Just watch the tail. It's tight. I like that she warmed up the glutes also as she went to do that. That's a tight tail. Can you all see it's like stiff like a board? Okay. Kind of bends a little bit up there by the tail dock, but that's pretty stiff. And then she went to do the spine wiggle, and he's tight. It's tight, but as she's doing her work, she's realizing that the tail itself needs to be loosened up. So I love that she chose to do what was best for the horse and switch her plan. So she went to the tail articulation there, just moving those. Look at her face. Look at her face. That's the same face I make when I'm like, oh, that's tight. She's like, let me see if I can loosen that up. Okay. So I want you guys to do that. I want you to do that. And then she got a release. I want you to do that when you feel like you see that your horse needs something else. Forget the video, forget the homework, do what the horse needs. That's what it's about. Okay. So that's pretty exciting, I think. That she knew it. She knew it. She just changed the plan. I love it. I love that. Okay. So that's pretty awesome. And then you know, we had a lot of work. So feel free, if you did not finish up your tail stuff this week, go ahead and keep doing that. Okay, and then submitting that. And then we're also going to start working our way down the hind legs. So we're going to do the gaskin, inside of the gaskin, and then front of the hock. And it's funny, I was looking back at those videos. I use a horse named Tawny, who I don't get to see anymore, but he's real cute. And he loved his gaskin rubbed so much. And then I like it because he showed some of the stuff that horses do when you rub their gaskins. Like they do pick up their feet sometimes, and they do turn out their leg because they like that. So I love that. That's a really fun video to watch. Okay. Oh, Lisa's here. Lisa was at my advanced bodywork clinic in Appalachia. So that was fun. I also took some of Lisa's apples from her orchard. So hi, Lisa. So that was fun. Okay, I'm going to open up for some questions, or if any of you guys realized anything or found anything interesting this week, let's open up for that. And if you want to go over a subject, let's do it. You can just unmute yourself, or you can raise your hand if you want, whatever you want to do.
I have a question.
Yes.
You had mentioned earlier this week that you were going to bring up when a yawn is not a release.
Ah.
And I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I love that. Who brought that up? Is the person who brought that up on here? Because I was going to talk about it this week. So, you know, and this was based off of, hi, Kathy, how are you? This was based off of a message I got from someone who had watched the Frisian Stallion that I work on, Valentino. And he has this huge yawn. It's just, oh, you know, it's just the best looking yawn you've ever seen. Okay. And so I had someone contact me and they said, I have a horse that yawns out of anxiety. And she's like, nobody believes me. Everybody thinks that it's relaxing. Nah. Horses, there's a couple things. Sometimes horses know that yawning brings relaxation, so they will force yawns out in order to try to achieve relaxation. So it's almost like a self-soothing thing. Okay, but the yawns never really look right. They never really look like they feel good. They're normally kind of more like they're forcing it out. Okay, so a yawn should look like you'd want to do it, like you want to yawn like that. And so if they're doing it's same as like grinding the teeth, like it's just an action. So if they're not enjoying it or it looks forced, then they're probably either one, coping, two, it's anxiety, right? So some horses grind their teeth for anxiety or do different things like that. That can be a sign of tension. Or they've just learned that behavior. It's kind of similar to when I was telling you guys that Chester, when he didn't want me to do something, or he didn't want me to continue with something that I was trying to release tension, he would look off in the distance like there's something over there, we should both look at it. So that was his way of getting me to stop doing what I was doing. So sometimes when you are trying to get a horse to relax or something like that, they'll force yawns out. Because, oh yeah, there's another horse, Fergie. they'll force yawns out to make you think that they're relaxing. And I don't think that they're all that cognitive about it, but they aren't as dumb as people think they are. And they do figure out how to get you to stop doing stuff. And if one thing doesn't work, they'll try something else. And if they learn that you stop doing stuff when they start yawning, they'll start yawning. Okay. So there's a horse named Fergie. You guys have probably seen her. Smart little red Arabian mare. Okay. Arabian mare. She has learned that when you're working on a particular area of her body that she doesn't really want you working on, she'll come around and scratch at her rib cage, right? Which you all know is a release of tension when it's done naturally. But she's learned that whenever she does that, the person stops. Okay, to give her time, because she's kind of taken her release, like, oh, I need to release this. Okay, so they use it as an excuse to get you to stop doing stuff. It's fascinating. So what I want you to focus on always is this relaxation? Are other forms of relaxation and release following it? Okay, so generally if you do a yawn, it follows up with a couple licks and chews and maybe like a little head thing, right? So a release should look like a release. It shouldn't look like they're trying to play games with you. Okay, does that make sense?
That makes sense, but I have a further question.
Yep.
Boone, I put him in cross ties. I put the saddle blanket, then I undo his halter and take it off to bridle him, and he will yawn 5 times.
Okay.
It doesn't seem to me that it's anxiety. He'll drop his head and yawn, but it's just odd that, because, I'm often rubbing his head too before I even tack him up, and he's releasing then as well. So it's just kind of odd that he continues to release. And that's why I was wondering if it was not a release, but more anxiety based.
That one's tough.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep my eye on it because,
Yeah.
I know he is saying something and I
Yep.
just don't know what it is. And I'll continue to attack him up and we'll go ride and we'll have a great ride. It's not like he's fighting anything. He's not sore. He's not listening to me. It's all great. So
Yeah.
that's why it's kind of perplexing.
So videotape that for me next time so I can watch
Okay.
it and maybe we'll discuss it. It could be either one, but that sounds almost like a preparation, like he knows what's up and he just likes to take that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't sound bad, but let me see it
Okay.
in a video.
Wow. New boots.
Carol says, Jazz used to do this when she was young and I was trying to do groundwork or ride. I didn't know anything at that time. I asked my trainer because I thought it was weird, but no one had useful information. Lila does this when learning something new. Yeah, good point, Carol. Stress indicator for sure, and she is playing me.
Could
Yeah,
be either
totally.
one, right?
Yes.
She's either being really smart or telling me she's stressed. I don't know which.
Erin has a Zoom every Sunday.
Yeah.
She just.
Yeah, that sounds, that definitely sounds correct for sure. I like that. That's kind of cool actually when you think about it. She was trying to do groundwork, yeah. So yeah, when they don't know what's going on, that could definitely be an indication that they're stressed out. And it could be that they're stressed out and they're trying to relieve the stress themselves, right? Who knows? Okay, so they could be trying to self-soothe by forcing a release. It's interesting. It's just something to pay attention to. Okay, April says, can you touch on ACE's issues and suggest what I should do? Let me find that. April, can you come on and describe it a little bit while I look for the videos?
Yes, hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I had to unmute myself.
I hear ya.
So I have a 11-year-old paint gelding that has started on his right-hand side. He had a chiropractor appointment probably last December, January. And the chiropractor pointed out that his tendon in his right above in his hamstring area on the back leg is very tight. And so I felt the tendon and it is extremely tight. And then towards the top of it, he has kind of like a little knot. And so I tried doing kinesiology taping with it. I tried doing like an ointment rub massage to try to get it to loosen up. When he steps forward, when he gets tired, especially, he'll drag his back toe and he doesn't quite slap his foot down. But it's a little bit more intentional when he walks with it, but he does drag his toe when he steps forward, when he gets tired, not so much when we first get started. And then yesterday, so I rode him Friday and he did great. And then yesterday I videoed him for Aaron and noticed that at the trot, he kind of dropped that hip a little bit. So I don't know if he was sore from the ride, and I didn't really ride him that hard, like hardly at all on Friday. It was just a leisurely trot a little bit, canter a little bit. So yeah, so I don't know what to do. I mean, somebody suggested that it was myopathy and that a surgery would be necessary to fix it. Somebody else suggested that it was, oh shoot, now I can't remember what it was. And it was just like a strengthening and exercise that could possibly help him. So we're kind of at a loss because, like I said, he's only 11 now, so he's fairly young. He should have many years ahead of him, but he definitely favors. And Aaron, you had asked me if he does stand with that leg back, and I was just really paying attention to it over the last couple of days. And yes, he does. When he stands, that right leg is back.
Okay. Okay, so I had April give me some videos, and so is it all right if we watch those, April?
Yes, please.
Okay, awesome. So, and then I have some photos I want to pull up. So what happens with some horses, and I'm not saying that it's this because I don't know for sure, because I can't feel it. But what happens is when a horse like slips out with their hind end forward, it can rip that semitendinosus going up from the hind leg, so that hamstring gets a rip in it. And then when that heals, that turns into a scar. Okay. So that scar, if it's really bad, will restrict the range of motion, and they almost will look string halty, like that when they come forward. So I've worked on a couple horses like that, and there's nothing you can do about that. So that's where whoever the friend that you were talking to comes in and says, there's a surgery you can do. Well, that surgery, yes, there is a surgery you can do. I have not heard it's very effective. It's kind of like a crapshoot for the most part, just because what it is you cut the scar tissue, and then you hope that it doesn't make more scar tissue, right? So you want to cut the scar tissue and then hope that opens that up. So that's normally when it's pretty bad though. And that's normally when it's like they're doing that string halty thing where the leg comes forward and slams down. That's when they would do that surgery. But everybody, I don't know. You'd have to talk to a vet about that. I would definitely want to try some other things first. But so that happens, and that's called that myopathy. So when you are working on that hamstring in the hind end and you feel that like hard knot, that's scar tissue. So when I was working on that horse, what I would do is I loosened everything around it. So remember that Zoom that we were talking about where I showed a web, like netting, like a fishnet stocking, and pulled one part and it kind of messed the whole stocking up. So that's very similar. Anytime there is scar tissue, it affects everything around it. Okay. And then everything around it gets kind of tight in order to protect it so that it doesn't rip that scar tissue, you know, the tissue that's trying to hold it all together. So the little spider web kind of goes out and it has to try to protect everything. Okay. So, that's kind of what happens. So when I was looking at the video, that April sent me, it was interesting to me because, did I even pull it up? Hold on. I pulled up a couple things here. Oh, here it is. Okay, hold on. I got it. It was interesting to me because if you cover up the front half of the horse and the back half of the horse, they look like different horses. Okay. So that's what I did. I like covered, because it's like he was just moving and the front half looks really good, but the hind half kind of has something going on with it. It's like it just doesn't quite jive with the front. So let's just watch the videos. You guys can see, try to cover it up if you can, see what I'm talking about and see if you can see what I'm seeing. And then I have a couple ideas. I have some ideas. Hey man, it's not going to hurt, right? We'd rather try something easy like body work than try something else. So let's see, where did it go now? Here it is. Okay, cute little, and he's got a lot of reach. That was the other thing I thought was interesting. Everybody can see this paint? Okay, here we go. Okay, so nothing like wild, crazy, right? This is his good direction. And the scar tissue is like actually kind of on the gaskin area back here. It's lower than normal for those type of injuries. He kind of popped out there for a second. You can see he kind of has like a little with his head. And this was after she rode him the day before, right, April?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I want to show you the next. Okay, this is the other side. So you got some stuff showing up on this side more. So he's going to the left, the injuries or the old injuries on the right hind. So they're asking for more, right? Because that right hind has to cover more ground. Okay. You guys can see the TFL looks a little tight. Now, I don't know if you can, but cover up the hind end on your screen. And then take your hand away. I feel like that emphasizes it, like you can see it better then when you do that. Because the front end wants to haul butt. You know, that front end wants to move. And it's like kind of telling the hind end to get going. Okay, so let's see if I can pause this at the right time here. Nope. I gotta let him get in the sun here. Hold on. There's a couple areas I would want to work on this horse. All right, here. Oop. Okay, here's a couple areas. So see if I can move this. Oh, here, this is a better photo. Okay, so this TFL right here, I want to loosen that up. Okay, so how am I going to do that? Well, I'm going to do my hands around the point of hip, and I'm going to hold that. That's that fascia release. So take your hands, put them around this point of hip, bam. Hold it. Wait for like 2 minutes. Okay, right around this area right here. I want to see what that has to say. See if that loosens up because you got stuff feeding in this way. You got the glutes. Okay. You got the TFL that's going down here. You can also see this TFL right here is tight. Okay. So the TFL goes from the point of hip to the stifle. Okay. So I'm going to loosen that up. We're going to do this on both sides too. Okay. Up and down, up and down. All right. And then there's something about his flank area that's kind of like sunk into me. And I think it's like right here, right up in that flank. So I want to see how it's sunk in. It's got that shadow. I want to loosen that up too. It's more pronounced on this side than it is on the other. Okay. And then what I want to do, let's go look at the other one real quick. Hold on. Okay, so this side looks better as far as the flank area and that go. But look at the stride on that hind end. Okay. So if the damage is like right around here, isn't it, April?
Yeah.
Yeah. So normally that damage from that hind end slipping underneath him, and I could definitely see that. What state are you in, April?
Oregon, we're in Eastern Oregon.
Oregon. Okay, awesome. So when it gets icy out, this is normally when this happens. And this horse, because he has such reach underneath himself, I could just see him hitting just a little bit of ice, and then that leg slides up underneath him and it pulls this whole area back here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So normally the scar tissue is up here. So that's why I'm not 100%, but you know, if you can feel a tendon that's really tight, that's probably it. But as far as myopathy, that would probably be up here more. Okay, so what I would want to do in the hind end here is I want to rub on that tendon or cord or whatever you're feeling. Okay, rub up and down. I normally cup my hands like this and just go up and down that hind leg. Kind of feel for that tendon. Okay, kind of feel to where it feeds in. I assume it probably feeds into the inside of that hock and then either goes down the leg more or ends there, depending on which one it is. I'd have to know exactly. Okay, but rub up and down on this hamstring up here. Up and down, up and down, up and down. I like to cup the butt cheek and pull it toward me, get all that hamstring to loosen up. And then rub up and down right here where that hind leg is. Loosen up all the tissue around that hard tendon. Okay, and then rub up and down right here, scratch above the hock. Because this horse has a pretty darn good range of motion. He's kicking that leg way up. Okay. So I would give that a try first and see if you can get that hind end to loosen up there, and then do some rubs in this flank area and kind of round the glutes, the glute rubs, okay, up and down the hamstrings, loosen all that up. Give them some pounding. So pound the glutes, pound them, get them to loosen up and go from there.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
his-
that's
so
game
that
plan number
tendon that's-
one.
That tendon that's super tight, right above it, where you're saying the hamstring is, that's
Mhm.
that's loose. Like I mean, it needs to be, like you said, to rub it to loosen it up. But compared to that tendon that's so tight, it's, comparably, it's pretty loose. So.
Okay, that's interesting because normally that'll go straight up the leg.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. I pulled up a photo, but I don't think it's a very good one now that I'm looking at it. Hind end. Let's see. So let's see, what's this? Okay. So which one would it be? Like this one? Or would it be on this skinnier one or this one? Because this is a semitendinosus that goes all the way up the hamstring.
I think it's the one on the inner, the inner side.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think it's the outer one.
That's interesting. Oh, this is a good view. Hold on. Whoops. Uh, hold on, I gotta move that. Okay. So this blue one, you think?
Oh, gosh. Now that I see this, it almost looks like the white.
Oh, that.
Yeah, that's,
So
I think, yeah,
that
because that
tendon.
picture that I sent you with him standing and I circled it,
Yeah.
like I was feeling it when I took that picture and then I circled it so I would remember, but yeah, I think it's more the white.
Okay. So yeah, that's that tendon that goes down right there. So take a look at it. I mean, this is kind of cool, isn't it? So that's going to plug in right here, and then you have a muscle that attaches to that. So I would work that muscle real good and see if you can get that to loosen up, and then follow it down as far as you can and kind of get it to loosen. So it sounds like this might have gotten torn a little bit.
Mhm.
And then it had to heal on its own. So tendons are difficult to heal, right? They don't have that. They're not as easy to heal as muscles. So let's just try to loosen up everything around it, especially the muscle that it's attached to. So go up from it because there's no muscles from here down. So, you know, you can try to loosen up just the skin and the fascia and all that, and that might help, but there's no muscles from the hock down. So try to work on those muscles there. And just
Okay.
all this whole area right around here and see if anything that you're gonna do can help that not be so tight.
Okay,
All right, that's the game plan.
thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Does that make sense, everyone? It's kind of a hard situation when you know it's if it's scar tissue, it's tough because there's not a ton you can do for scar tissue. But you got to help the area around it so it doesn't get affected. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Wanda, you're doing pretty good there. You haven't cut out. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, I will set you free. Play around, finish up your tail work and your spine work if you haven't done that yet. And then we will work on the gap. Well, good timing, April. We're doing your area this week. Yeah. So we're gonna do, all of us are gonna work on our horses like April's gonna work on her horse. Okay. And then I want you to videotape it. I want you to see if your horse likes it or doesn't like it. Actually, you know what? Hold on. Seeing we have a little bit of extra time, let me pull up the clinic, and April does not have the clinic. So let's watch the video together so April can get kind of an idea of what we're doing. Let me pull it up. Oops, view course. Okay, let me share this so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Boop, boop, boop. Share screen. Perfect. Okay, so here's my clinic, online clinic. Y'all have, most of you have this, okay? And then you have your welcome and safety tips and tricks. Head, face, neck, withers, pectorals, belly, forelegs, spine, rib. We're on the hind legs, okay? So we're doing the inside hind legs today. So then you click on this. I've completed this one, so shows up that I did it. All right, and here's Tawny. Isn't he cute? I love him so much. Okay, so let's watch this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. So for the hind end, I have a new supermodel. This is Tawny, and he's a fantastic little horse here. So he's going to demonstrate the spotlights on the hind end and the hind legs. So welcome, Tawny. Glad you're here with us. Okay, for the next spotlight section, I want to talk to you guys about the hind legs. There's so many areas, just like with the front legs, that horses love to be rubbed on. So the first one that we're gonna do, the first affection is gonna be the inside of the hind leg. Another thing, not sure why they love this so much, they just do. So I like to, first of all, safety tips and tricks, of course. Be comfortable with your horse, and if you're not, wait till you've established a relationship with them and then try this later. You can stand in this position, and you can also stand behind the horse if you're comfortable doing that. I would choose this position first, just because you're not quite sure how they're going to react when you start this off. So just get a good feel for the horse's hind leg, see where they respond. But what we're going to do is we're going to be going to the inside of the hind leg here. Okay, and we're going to start, oh yeah. So that's a very
Look at you.
common response. They love the inside of their leg rub. Sometimes they'll do a little turnout like that. Okay, so that's what, expect that. Don't be shocked if they lift their foot up like that. It's just a natural response to that particular move. And just be in the correct area, so you don't need to worry about flies or anything like that also, okay? So you can come on, you can start on the outside of the leg if that makes you more comfortable. And just rub around. And for some reason, where I'm at is the inside right here on this inside leg here, okay? Oh, they just like that. Now, he's actually lifting the leg up. So when you find an area that they really enjoy, stick around in that area. Look what he's doing with his back leg. Is that hilarious or what? Now he's passing gas, another compliment. There we go. Now I'm a little bit further up into the inner thigh area. Now I'm back down. There we go. Now I'm right around the hock on the inside. Man, it just feels good. Now I'm up here by the stifle. You can rub back and forth. You can use two hands. They really enjoy that. They're like double duty. Go to the back here. Let's get this tail out of the way so we can see what's going on. Thank you, sir. Okay. So sometimes, oh, that felt good. So sometimes to help myself out, I will come here. Only do this if you're comfortable. But again, you're establishing relationships and making them feel good. So I haven't run into any problems, but if you're not comfortable doing this, or it's a new horse to you, or they're a little shy on the hind end, save this for later. But we're going to rub up and down and just pay attention to your horse's face. Oh, little hop there. Oh, likes that. So rub that gaskin. And then you can do the two-hand thing again. Now, one little safety thing that I'm doing is I have my shoulder here up against the buttock, and I can feel the horse really well that way. So if he were to do anything funny, I'd be pretty ready for it. Now, what I wouldn't do this if you had like another horse that was over here messing with them or something like that. So really think about your own safety when you're doing these affections, because we want everybody to be happy and don't want to cause any problems. All right, so rub that hand up and down. There we go. See how they enjoy that?
All right, so that's what we're doing this week. Yeah, and then interesting facts, if horses get stocked up, this really helps them. Tightness in the deep digital flexor. There you go. And yeah, make sure they're standing square. Okay, so even better, if you want to really loosen that area up, is if you have them standing with that leg back a little bit. That would make it even easier because it loosens those muscles up as you go back. Okay, so for those of you who don't have the course, let me put that in the chat so you can check it out if you want to. But yeah, it breaks it down a bit. Horses really love their hind end rubbed like that. So feel free to give that a try this week. Make sure you're videotaping it because I want to see all the horses, whose horse really enjoys that. Who's change, they'll turn their legs out. You'll get a ton of release out of some horses. A ton of release out of some horses. We worked on a horse this weekend who I told you was angry when his owner went to rub the front legs and he would bite at her. And I was like, yeah, that's tension. You have to get that out. So then she finally kept working on it. I held his hand. She went up and down that leg, just like we did on that Gaskin. All of a sudden he starts releasing and relaxing and he's not biting her at her anymore. So then she comes back the second day, he didn't bite at her. So that was resolved in one session. And hopefully if she keeps up on it, that tension's not going to build up, right? Tension accumulates over time. So we want to make sure to get the tension out of the legs and then just see how long it stays out. Okay, that horse had shoes on, so when they have shoes on, they don't have that natural blood flow. So any horses that have shoes, I want to make sure to rub their legs and get blood flow going down in their extra. Rub their knees, hocks, all that jazz. Okay? Any other questions? Good, good. All right, I want to see your work. Okay, talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining. Bye.